Okay, so for time number 3, we are going live. This is Nurses Talking Live with Dale. Unfortunately, it seems I'm having problems with the internet, and so we're working on a hotspot. Keep their fingers crossed that this goes the way it should. All right, so today we're going to skip all the formalities, given all of this. I'm going to go straight to the
Got
point and
shutting
tell
down
you that,
the
yeah, we're talking with Catherine Belle out of New Jersey. Catherine is a functional nutritionist. She's a colon hygienist, a holistic culinary educator. She's an integrative health practitioner. She's an entrepreneur. She's the founder of Feeling Nourished Institute, LLC. And currently she's pursuing a doctorate in clinical nutrition. So welcome, Catherine.
Hey everyone, how are you? How are you today, Dale?
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
first of all, let me ask you this. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get into, what led you into complementary and alternative medicine and to create the Feeling Nourished Institute?
oh wow. Well, thank you for having me. I am greatly appreciative of it, of being here with you. So, how did this started for me? Um, well, my transition began over 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I suffered some serious ailments at the time where I had what at the they had I had IBS, and at the time it wasn't really known. That was
Mm-hmm.
a long time ago. So I had a lot of digestive issues that I just could not understand what was going on with me. I went to doctor after doctor. They couldn't explain it either. So I decided just to become plant based. Like I just was like, I'm sick of this problem I'm having. And really what kicked it off was I watched a PBS special, and the guy was on there talking about, he was talking about the truth about what they don't tell us, something like that. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how what we're eating is hard, bad for us, and how it's damaging our health and so forth. And I ran out and I bought this book, and it was enlightening. It opened me up, and I was just like, you know what? I am going to pursue this kind of way. In addition to that, I was also in school at the time, and I haven't declared a major at that particular time. But as soon as I read this book and I understood that nutrition was the foundation to health, I decided nutrition is my major, and
And
I
there you
just
go.
went straight for it. Yeah, yeah.
and nothing, and you haven't turned back since.
And I haven't turned back since. It's just, I found that it's just the best way. After, I'll say this, after started to eat plant based, I was I told myself at the time, I'm gonna do it for a month and see what happens, right? And I did it for a month. Everything changed in a month. Like I didn't even realize I was having sleeping problems. I was having sleeping problems. I was sleeping better. I was My stomach got better. I was also having skin problems. That got better. I was having breath problems. That got better. Like everything, joint problems, that got better. I mean, everything was just a mess on me. And once I started to eat better, those things, those pain and suffering subsided, and I just felt better. And I just was like, there's no point of going back. So everyone around me at the time said, well, you said you was going to do this for a month. And at the end of the month, it's like, you're going back to this meat? And I was like, I am not. I am absolutely not. And, ever since then, I just got better and better at it,
Mm-hmm. 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 So how would you say that particularly good nutrition or nutrition in itself supports breast health?
How does nutrition support breast health? Well, I would say that there's there are things called endocrine disruptors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are exogenous agents that chemically interact with the body. And so we take them in through our food and air and so forth. And so when they come into us, these are things like phthalates, BPA, or what we know, right, out there. They're not plastic, pesticides as well, even heavy metals, right? These things get into us and they disrupt the hormonal system. They disrupt the signaling pathways. Um, these substances also attach themselves to fat. So that's how they would stay in our bodies, right? Our fat, they love fat. So they'll stay in our fat cells, they'll harbor there, and then they'll just go to like estrogen hormones, and they will cause the estrogen to rapidly make cells grow and proliferate, right? So these cells will grow, grow, grow. And then in the growing and proliferating, they'll grow distorted. And that's what creates the tumors and such. So we got to be careful with what we are consuming. In addition to that, I find that, well, in the studies, there's the endocrine disruptors also interfere with DNA and methylation and other epigenic conditions. And epigenic is just a fancy word for your gene signatures, right? And how your genes interact with each other. So if you're taking in these endocrine disruptors, they will go into your gene space and your DNA, and they will disrupt how they are expressing on the outside, because they're the talkers in the body, and they tell the body what to do, what color eyes you should make, how many cells to produce, right? So when that's going on, if you get a disruption in there, the signals will get crossed and they won't know what to make. And in that happening, you develop tumors and such like that. So we gotta be really mindful with what we consume and the things we come across.
But as you describe it, it's very difficult to avoid endocrine disruptors. So how would you suggest then that someone pay attention in avoiding as much as possible consuming these things? Because they're everywhere.
They are everywhere. They are called they're also a type called forever chemicals, right? And they are out in the zeitgeist forever. They created them in the 60s and 70s, and they're still abundant, right? And it's still in the air, just everywhere. So I would say the things that you can do, of course, is when you're consuming foods, you have to eat the rainbow, right? You have to eat a variety of different types of vegetables and fruits, particularly. We're talking about multiple colors. So we're saying deep greens and purples, reds, whites, blues, oranges, and yellows. So all of these foods and these particular nutrients have anti-inflammatory chemicals in them that will help to, when I was talking about a few minutes ago, just talking about the endocrine blockers coming in and disrupting the hormonal process. When that estrogen gets all disrupted, that's a type of inflammation that's occurring. So when you're eating the nutrient dense foods, those phytonutrients and anti-inflammatory and antioxidant chemicals interrupts that, right? And they can prevent it, and they can reverse it too. So this is the importance of eating. You eat beets, carrots, cabbage, kale. The list goes on and on. Every time you go into the grocery store and you go into the produce section, you just look around and all you see is food medicine. Right.
Well, you know what? I'm kind of glad you said that, because there is a conception, or maybe a misconception, that this is difficult to do.
Get these vegetables difficult.
Yeah. If you very often when you speak to people and you say, well, eat certain kind of way, especially as you talked about being plant-based, for example. And that's just an example. For some reason, people think, but how am I going to do that?
How am I going to do that? And I understand it. I don't think it was really easy for me in doing it as well. But I think because I was like, I know this, as in my studies, I realized I know this will help me get better, right? So So I'm going to just go and try every vegetable that I see, or every um, vegetable and whole grain and every bean, right? And coming from a parent who cooked these things, I just said I'll just cook them the way she did, right? Like she steamed the broccoli, I'll steam the broccoli. She boiled some beans, I'll boil some beans, right? And then so that's just how it went for me. But I know that today, and we a lot of people want that convenience and that quick thing, right? So one of the things that I do with my clients, in particularly when they tell me these issues they may have, is we go over your schedule. What does your life look like? And then I'm talking about people who are ready for change, right? Because not everybody wants to embrace the healthy eating lifestyle. And then that doesn't mean that you have to give up animal products, right? That doesn't mean you have to give up meat or butter. It just means that when you do consume those things, you're more mindful about that it's the whole food as possible. Like instead of margarine, do consume butter, right? Because it's healthier. It's an actual it has actual ingredients in it that your body recognizes versus margarine, right? Margarine doesn't. Margarine is artificial. It won't. It's not going. It's going to provide you with hydrogenated oils, which are inflammatory ingredients, will cause trouble, right? Will cause these tumors and things that we're talking about. And because it's fat, it will go into you as fat. It will find all your fat cells, and then they will hang out and have a party. Okay, and you don't want that, right? So one of the things is just to pay attention to when you have like free time, what are you doing with that time? And you could be using that time to prepare your meals, right? Um, you can be using that time to look at some old recipes, talk to your mom or your aunt about some of these things, especially people who come from their deep culture and like, you still have your mother and she used to cook and blah, blah, blah. You can get some tips and strategies. So I'm just saying that I think it's just for those who are ready to make such changes with how they eat and what they choose to eat. There are some lifestyle strategies that you can pick up that will help you along the way. That you can. Nobody say you have to do it all in one shot either. You don't have to overwhelm yourself and think like I have to do everything today. It doesn't have to work like that. I mean, if you think about it, everybody wants to get in it to 100 years old. So you want to take your time, adding these new type of lifestyle changes, but you want to do it weekly. You want to say, I'm going to add this week, this thing next week. You want to do it like that. And that will give you that pace in life that will eventually roll over to be the healthy you're trying to be.
Yeah. And you talked, a couple of times about people being ready. And I'm wondering, if take your own self, if you were not experiencing some physical challenges, some health challenges, would you have been ready?
Would I have been like, you know what? I'm done with this. I don't want this unhealthiness going on. And probably not. If it's something that would have taken longer, at the time I was in my early 20s. So if it was something that went to my early 30s, then I would have had another 10 years to deal with, just being, eat whatever and do whatever, right? Yeah. And however, I would say, fortunately for me, I came up on this challenge sooner rather than later. And I came up on the challenge in a way that was painful. Yes, everything was painful, but it came up in a way that was alarming to my senses, my frame of reference, that enough that I was just like, I have to pivot. I have to make a change, because what I do know is that when, as a nutritionist working with clients, sometimes things will come up for them that they'll ignore, right? And they'll say, this is okay. They'll take a painkiller and they'll go away, and then they'll not concern themselves anymore. So I think being that in tune with the changes in yourself, especially women dealing with breast cancer, right? So you want to be really mindful with what's going on there, making sure you're watching how you look and how you feel, so that if a slightest change occurs, you're very in tune with that, where you can be like, I need to make sure I get this checked out.
Yeah. So I have a question. We're talking about plant-based and stuff, and one of the things that comes up a lot when people are talking about plant-based meals is soy.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people who worry about soy products and increasing estrogen levels. And I wonder, would you say that's a valid or concern?
I would say it's an outdated concern, because yes, at one long time ago during research, they saw, soy may have an issue with the development of estrogen, right? There may be
Hmm.
some interaction with the estrogen, but it turns out that this is typical with processed soy, right? And soy, wheat, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the third one. Soy, wheat, and corn are the most processed products,
Hmm.
right? So everything we eat, when we go to the store and get processed, packaged, canned, or bagged foods, they are some component of soy, wheat, or corn. And because of that, those isolates, because they have to they take them apart, they degrade them, take them apart, and they use one particular part of it, right? And and using that particular part of the soy, that turns it into a toxin itself. And then that goes into your body. And because we eat so much processed food in our society, that becomes I like to say that your body, one, can't is incomprehensible and to the body, because the body just doesn't understand what's going on. And your immune system will try to attack it. Your body, it will cause inflammation, it will cause oxidative stress. So it'll cause all of these concerns and these issues in the body. So isolates, soy isolates are found in supplements and processed foods, and in they impact your gut microbiome and your estrogen metabolism.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they don't talk to the estrogen pathways the same way as eating a soybean, a whole soybean,
Okay.
right? They don't talk to it when you eat edamame, which is soybeans, right?
Hmm.
So, or if you have like authentic tofu, right? Like authentic tofu, like they used to make in Japan up in the mountains. If you have an authentic tofu, those particular nutrients in here, think about this: the food is whole, it's intact. Every nutrient, every compound that comes in that food, even the ones we have not studied, is still in that one little bean. So when you consume it, it interacts with the body synergistically, right? So it helps your estrogen pathways. It has fiber in it, so it talks healthy to your gut microbiome, right? So it does all of those good things that your body needs. And if we're eating soy isolate, you are missing out on all those wonderful things.
So um, something. Oh yeah. I knew what crossed my mind as you were talking about soy, wheat, and corn being so highly
Process.
in everything we eat, pretty much. I think a lot of people are aware of soy. Do you think a lot of people are aware of wheat and corn in just about everything?
Mm, I think probably wheat and soy, but probably not so much corn, but wheat and soy, yes. Because think about everything we buy, patties, breaded wheat, right?
Mhm.
Inside our French fries, when they make French fries, inside the French fries,
Mhm.
wheat,
Mhm.
right? So everything, right? Everything has a form of wheat. Wheat is wheat, and that's one of the reasons why people suffer from gluten um, intolerance. That's a whole nother tangent I can go on, but people suffer from that because of this issue, right? Because of this issue. So just whole
So,
foods are the best. Just whole foods, rich in fiber. They support the elimination of uh, excess estrogen, because
mhm.
that's what happens. The body creates Estrogen is a natural thing. The body has to create it, right?
Yeah.
The hormone. It's created, your body uses it, and then your body has to excrete it. It has what's called like maybe like a 0.5 half life, so it doesn't even live long in the system. So it goes through the body, it circulates through the blood system, and then you excrete it. How do you excrete it? You excrete it through your bowels. Now, this is why you have to eat fiber-rich foods so you can get it out. This is why you have to have healthy gut microbiome, because actually what happens is the microbiome will turn the it's so funny how this works, right? So the estrogen is leaving the body, it goes through the liver pathway, and when it comes to the colon, and the colon has to excrete now. But if you don't have healthy gut bacteria, it will actually turn back on the estrogen and send it back in the body.
And be reabsorbed.
And reabsorb in the body. So if you reabsorb it, now you have excess estrogen, and also you have estrogen that's been used. I had a friend say, so that's broken estrogen? And I said, that's a good point. It's broken estrogen, right? So nobody wants anything that's broken.
Yeah. So to gather from that, A, eating healthily, and B, excreting healthily.
Yes.
Absolutely important to maintain. If we're talking about maintaining good breast health, because it's one thing to eat well, but if you're not excreting properly, a lot of your effort is kind of in vain.
Yes.
And so we can't actually, what I'm gathering is that we cannot just pay attention to what goes in. We have to pay attention to how it comes out.
Correct. Yes. Good, healthy bowel movements, stools are important. It is a matter of life and death, because it does bring out all of that excess, all of that broken estrogen that needs to be leaving the body, and other hormones too. Progesterone has a role in cancer too, and also in other estrogen related types of conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important that you get them out when your glands pump them out and they are used in the body. It's important that you get rid of them.
Get rid of it. So, question for you: you are an integrative health practitioner.
I am.
Well, what would you say? What is a truly integrative, if there is such a thing, and a truly integrative breast health plan from your perspective?
A plan. Well, one thing is for sure what we just talked about: regular bowel movements and regular movements as well. So, like aerobic and light resistance. So, strength training, getting those, because the healthier your bones are, and you're moving your muscles, the better your excretion is, and also sleep and all the rest and all that, because when you're sleeping, your body can recalibrate, and it will be easier for you to go to the bathroom in the morning. Yeah. Also, it improves the lymph cycle, and the blood cycle, all of that. What else we have? Some stretching. So if you're into like Pilates, yoga, things of that nature, or just some regular old stretching, sitting down and stretching the body. Stress management is beneficial. So some meditation, some breath work, some mind-body practices helps as well. Being mindful of your interactions with other people and how you're choosing your food. We were talking about earlier in our discussion how hard it is for people because these toxins are everywhere, right? They're in the air we're breathing. So being mindful of the fact that, when I go outside, especially as someone who commute, you take the train, you take the bus, things of that nature. So you're around a lot of toxins. people breathing themselves. Somebody have a cold, somebody have a flu, blah, blah, blah. Or you're standing outside, cars are driving by, you're getting exhaust, so you want to have probably an air filter. You want to make sure you're filtering your water. And I'm talking about in your home, because when you get home, you want it to be your sanctuary, the place where you can at least have some sort of relaxation without having to be concerned about what's going on outside in the world. And that's some of the ways that you can help protect yourself, your exposures and your life. Just
Yeah. And I think I'm going to just stress a little bit that I'm glad that you brought up the bit about excretion and getting rid of waste, because very often when we think about being well, we think about what we put in. And some people do make a healthy effort to put healthy stuff in and forget that it doesn't end there.
It doesn't end there. Yeah. I'm also a professor, and I have students, and the students I teach are nutrition beginners, right? So they have no idea about what these terms mean and anything. So it's refreshing to kind of be around them and hear their dialogue and everything. So when I talk to them about that, the first thing in class I say, so tell me what's the process of food. And then and they'll talk about you eat it. And I'll say, first you see it, you might smell it. So we're saying all those things, and then we're describing this, you chew it, and then you swallow it, and then it goes to your belly, and then it goes to your small intestines, and then it goes to your large intestines, and then everybody's like, stop. The whole class stops, and it's like, that's it? It's done? And I'm feeling like nothing else, and they're all looking at me like, we gotta say that part. Something? Like, there's another part. And it's like, there's another part. Like, who's the person who's gonna tell me this next part? And then somebody's like, you go, like, they're really low, like, you go in the bathroom. Like, like, it's like, we ain't doing it right now, so you don't need to be shy. You just need right? You just need to say it. So say it because it's true, And I think too is that some people don't think about that part, because for some reason we think it's like it's an out of body experience. Like, I don't even know myself when it's happening, and it's like, well, everybody does it, and it's a part of the health cycle of the body, because your body does recreate itself within the next 30 days, right? Every 30 days, the cells, they go through a process of living and dying, and that's a natural process. And so when you have something like cancer, and you're trying to eat to kill these cancer cells, right? Prevent them from happening, heal them, which means kill the cancer cells. So once they degrade and they're trying to leave, where do they go? They have to be excreted. So because you don't want that living inside you. You don't want that to stay inside you, because it can become, again, it can drive inflammation and oxidative stress.
I was smiling inside, because the very fact that you said that somebody will say it very, very low speaks volumes about our society. Speaks volumes.
Yes. That we forget one of the most important parts of having a healthy body and being comfortable in your body. Think about this. If you're constipated, like I know we all have been, you're uncomfortable. You're not happy. You're worried because you're outside, like, please don't happen right now. Right? So exactly. You're like, you're concerned, so that's just, everybody has their feeling and way about these things. But, once we can normalize these mechanisms and how our bodies act and respond, and also to how we eat, like it's normal for us to eat whole foods. And because we have such a society that has converted so much to convenience and processed foods, that if you're somebody, who eats whole foods, other people will come stare at you like you an animal in a zoo. So there comes
Yeah.
I'm just, it's interesting though, but it's so that's the importance of what I do when I teach uh, and educate my clients and my students about healthy eating. And again, it's about somebody being ready for change as well. Like somebody has to be like, I'm ready to change my relationship with food, really, to change my relationship with how I think about food, my philosophy on food,
Yeah.
my philosophy about health. Because if you have um, a philosophy, if you consider a philosophy on what is health, if you really think about that, then you'll make healthier choices, right?
Yeah.
You'll consider every day about and you'll seek out ways to do it too, right? You'll seek out ways. You'll seek out because there's so many methods out there, right? So you'll seek out the best method for
For
you,
you. Mm-hmm.
and because it's always, but the bottom line is it's always about healthy eating is about whole foods, and you know um, and making sure that you're eating well around the clock. You're eating really eating too becomes a routine. It should be a routine, like you should eat every day at the same time, just like you go to sleep every day at the same time. Everything should be that kind of a routine so that the body knows
What
how
you
to function throughout the day, because the body is, even though you have a head up here, the body cells and all that stuff, they get confused because the body is thinking, oh, we should be going to sleep, but you up. And so the body
Yeah.
is like, yeah,
Yeah.
so, or the
What are
other
we
way
supposed
around.
to do now?
Yeah, what we supposed to do now. So that's one of the other things about um, maintaining health, building that cycle of repetition, I guess, ritualistic behavior, they call it.
So I have two questions for you.
Mhm.
One is actually, I think I'll ask them in reverse.
Okay.
One of them, the first one that I wanted to know is, how do people find you? If someone wanted to get in contact with you and be your client, how would they find you?
Yes. So, how would they find me? Let's see. You can send me an email at journey@fni.life, or you can also text me at 862-253-1687 to learn more information about the services and schedule a free 30-minute consultation as well. Um, I, I am looking forward to anyone coming along and and having any questions, just basic. If you just have questions about if this is the right path for you,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
so
thinking
we'll
if
talk about.
anyone's looking and they want to get in touch, that's why I asked.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
other
So yeah.
question that, right.
Mhm.
The other question that I had for you is this: if you could just leave a viewer, if you viewer can make three changes, just three changes today in the next week, what would you suggest they do?
3 changes that they could do. I would say, I always like to say, eat a big salad every day.
Eat a big salad.
Eat a big leafy green salad with flax seeds, beans, onions. These support detoxification and hormone balance. They also help to reduce endocrine disruptors in the system. Uh, I did mention about something like air filters, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Reduce exposures to hydrogenated oils, and minimize processed foods. I think that was more than 3, but
That's all right. We'll take them.
they can use. Again, it's about adding something every day to your, every day or every week to your life. So this week, I'm gonna be more mindful about um, processed foods, right? I'm gonna read ingredients and I'm gonna see what's happening. And then I'm gonna also perhaps get me a blender or get me an air fryer. Or whatever the case may be, or be mindful, get a recipe and make that particular thing so that can last for a while and such. So you don't have to do everything at once. You can just add something in.
Well, Catherine, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon because we have learned so much.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
It's been a great conversation. I just looked in the chat, and we have
Nice chat.
a Gogo Wanogo who's looking at us from the United Kingdom. And she says, "Good
Hey.
evening, all." So good evening, Agogo. Um, but thank you so very much for this.
I appreciate it.
And to my audience, take away. Here's one thing I want you to take away. It doesn't just go in; it's got to come out.
Yeah.
Pay attention. Pay attention.
Yes. And pay attention to it too. Making
Yeah.
sure you're well. Making sure
All
you're well.
right. Everyone, be well till next time. Bye bye.